I noticed you're wearing an American Lives Matter
Yes.
shirt. What is your message to this audience right now by wearing that t-shirt? What is your intended message?
Well, I think that we should put Americans above foreigners.
You know that the whole point of, the movement, like, that came with Lives Matter was originally for Black Lives
Yes,
Matter?
I'm intentionally appropriating it. Yeah.
And are you trying to eliminate the movement Black Lives Matter? Are you trying to not bring attention to it?
I mean, well, BLM is not exactly a movement that I would be associated with, but I believe all lives matter. American lives matter. If you're a Black American, Hispanic American, I don't care. All Americans' lives matter.
Would you take the time to recognize a group of people who have been marginalized historically and who are now asking for the same rights, the same privileges as white people in the society by letting
What rights do white people have that blacks don't?
So the issue is, it's not necessarily written in the law.
Oh,
but
so it's like hidden.
That's the whole point. That's how marginalizing works.
Oh, so it's kind of like, it's like a ghost. You see it one day and you don't. And
because you as a white privileged person with money have never
so
seen it doesn't mean it doesn't
What privilege
exist.
do I as a white person have that a black person doesn't? What can a white person do in America that a black person cannot do? Be specific. Name one thing.
So there are so many issues in our society.
Name one thing. No, I got to drill you in. Name one thing a white person can do that a black person cannot do.
So the issue is racism, okay? You can technically do it, but your life may be put at risk if you find yourself in certain areas where you might not be accepted by your race, and then your life might be in danger.
Okay, what is racism? Can you define to me what racism is?
Racism, well, I don't have the exact description as it is seen in like AP Style or like Wikipedia.
Can you just talk on the mic, please? I'm sorry, yeah.
Sorry. Racism is the lack of opportunities because of a race, the kind of like putting a person to a side.
So can you name a single example in the last 20 years where blacks were discriminated en masse, where they've been put aside? Can you give me a specific example?
You can simply talk about police brutality and mass incarceration.
What percentage of murders do black Americans commit in America?
So there you have a point of there is over-policing in black communities, specifically
murders.
lower income communities.
Blacks commit murders because of police? I'm not talking about murders of police.
You're twisting my words.
So why do blacks commit so many murders?
They don't.
So they're 13% of the population, and they do 55% of the murders in America.
So
why?
You're not even looking at the background of it. There is over-policing in lower-income communities.
There's under-policing in lower-income communities. Number two, you're trying to say that over-policing, even if that existed, which it doesn't, leads to the fact that 13% of the U.S. population accounts for 55% of the murders?
There is a target on people of color's backs, okay? So when a white person sees a person of color...
Prove it.
There is studies, there is research
give me one example. Give me one piece of evidence that there's a target on black people's back. In fact, I will submit to you there's the opposite. Black students can get into this college with lower test scores than white students. It's called affirmative action.
So now white people are the people who are struggling?
No.
Are they the marginalized ones?
I will go back to this, though. Can you name a specific example of what a black person cannot do that a white person can do? And be, again, specific. Anything.
I'm talking about So racism as a whole is not written in the law because that's not allowed anymore. But it still exists.
Then give me an example.
I just told you.
You said police brutality is your example. Why do you think blacks encounter police so much? They commit more crimes.
There is
and not just like a little bit more.
Policing.
No, there's under policing. And how could you say such a thing? We have defunded the police in Philadelphia, New York, Chicago, largely defunded it. We saw crime rates go up.
I also want you to take in mind that when a whole group their opportunities to succeed economically, let's say they don't get that higher paying job because they chose a white person instead of a black person, that makes
Show me an example of where that happened recently.
That makes an entire community more prone to being lower income, and then lower income communities are directly related to like more crime activity.
But let me ask you a question. What percentage of young blacks have both a mom and a dad raising them?
I cannot think of a percentage right now to give you.
25%. So only 1 out of 4 blacks in America have a mom and a dad around. Do you think that is a bigger issue to address than racism? Do you think more dads is a better solution, or tackling racism, which you say you can't even see in our laws?
How could dads be connected directly? Like,
Oh, dads are very connected.
And what about, okay.
When you
you're
have a dad
talking
around,
about-
you're less likely to be violent as a male, less likely to go to
and
prison.
So explain to me why all the fathers are leaving.
Exactly. Why are they leaving?
Question for you.
Because
why are they
black
leaving?
women married
So-
the government and divorced the men that they were once
talk
with.
Talk about white people right now.
I'm sorry, I'm
Talk about
I'm
white
a
people.
realist, not a racist. Secondly, see,
about
you can
white people.
you can come up to the mic and call me a racist to my face, or are you an intellectual coward and want to shout it from 30 feet away?